at 919 in order to get those multiple offers. So we ended up putting it on the market. We did get multiple offers. We ended up getting 16 offers, by the way. Most of the offers were coming in at like 800,000. These are, and you got to be careful of that for those that are getting new listings. You'll get a lot of these cash offers that are from flippers
or LLC or signee.
Yeah, it could be an assignee or from an LLC. Most of the times they haven't even seen the properties, and a lot of these are automated offers.
Yeah.
And so don't get excited over those, because typically those will not close escrow. It's been my experience. So we had a bunch of low offers. Seller was very firm on price. After a month, we reduced the price to $895, and we did some improvements, and we sold it at full price. The moral of this is that, and the reason that it didn't sell right away like we had planned is as soon as we had that listed, 2 or 3 other listings had come up in those 30 days that were better than ours.
Yeah.
And so we had to wait. All the offers went to them. We had to wait for those to be resolved. And then finally everything sold or was pending, right? And then ours was back to being the best. And we got what the seller wanted as at full price. So I think you're going to see more of that nowadays, because these prices are so high from what they've been a year ago, that you're going to see more listings come on. So price them aggressively, get those multiple offers, and it's always better to be able to pick and choose that buyer that's got short contingency time frames or all cash if you can work with that type of a buyer, and their price, and get these escrows closed. We don't know what's going to happen in the next few years, but the market is incredible now. I mean, in my experience, this is one of the best markets I have ever been in. And I went on a road trip between Christmas and New Year's, and based on the calls and texts and emails that I received, I know a lot of you guys are working out there, and you're very active. So keep it up. If 2020 hasn't been a banner year for you, I'm sure 2021 will be for those that are working.
Talk about contingent offers on buyer replacement, seller replacement too.
Yeah. Do you want to say something? Or?
I want to say that most of you guys will see offers come in that are contingent on them finding a replacement property, and those aren't really good offers because the property can't be sold like that. And we have no idea with this unforeseen market with low inventory, whether it's on the buyer finding a replacement or the seller. You know, when you have all these dominoes in effect, you never want to be at one end of that domino because you're holding up 3 or 4 escrows sometimes.
Yeah, and historically in my career, and even at TRG over the last 20 plus years, most of these don't work out, and it's a lot of effort, a lot of work on the agent dealing with these different parties. Now, having said that, we have had a few that have closed, but they've just been long and drawn out escrows, and the agents really earn their commissions on those. So as I always tell clients, sell the property without that contingency on finding another one, and vice versa when you're looking to buy. You can't go out there and start buying properties subject to selling your own house. I'm not going to deal with that type of a client when I'm representing a seller. So, but talk to us. We'll be glad to help you. And especially, as I've mentioned in our previous meetings, if you're writing offers that aren't getting accepted because of all the multiple offers out there, see us. We can show you how to write an attractive offer. We ended up selling Anza to a buyer that was getting financing, but they removed all their conditions and everything within, I think it was 12 days. And this is over the holidays and everything. So it was a very attractive offer, even though it was a standard financing on that. Very experienced agent, and we've been moving along fine now. Knock on wood. It's Jake.
Okay, so talking about, like, because this is a situation where I find myself now.
Regarding contingency offers?
Because I'm selling their house in Carson, and they wanted to buy, in Diamond Bar. Obviously, there's a big step up from 750 MLS, you don't think I should put contingent upon the selling?
You mean you mean on the offer that they're purchasing in Diamond Bar?
No, my listing.
So on the listing, you're putting subject to the seller finding a new replacement property? Okay. Well, if I have a buyer that I've been working with and I'm putting these offers out, I'm not gonna have them put an offer on yours, because if we get accepted, we do the inspections, we do the appraisal, we get the loan, and at the last minute, it's like, oh gee, I can't get this property. Not only am I gonna lose that transaction, odds are I'm gonna lose that client.
Yeah.
What do you suggest me to do?
Well, see me. I mean, there's lots of ways you can do it. You got to be able to convince that seller. I like to turn it around to my selling client that's local, and say, hey, you know, Mr. Client, if I have a buyer for your property and he wants to buy your property, pay full price, but he has to sell his, right? I'm going to go tell him, hey, go sell your property, get it in escrow, come back and talk to us. So you have to educate them. You have to educate them on the marketplace, especially today when it's a hot market, so that they understand.
Yeah.
And work with them. There's other things you can do, you know, depending on whether it's buyer or seller. You can do swing loans. You can always delay the escrow period. You can write in the contract a rent back for 60 extra days, but you've got to make that unconditional that they're going to sell, or that buyer is qualified to buy.
And the comments in the MLS will probably hurt the client more once you get into escrow, then you can talk to them about extending escrow, rent backs, you know, stuff like that.
So,
Yeah.
so when I listed it, I don't put anything.
Well,
Just on
again,
a counter offer.
I wouldn't show your property.
So what is saying, like all these strategies I should do when I have an offer, I put a counter offer, you know, I can sell it to.
Well, first you need to talk with your seller, educate your seller and say, hey, we can't sell this on a contingency basis. You have to be comfortable that you're going to find a property out there, right? I mean, if it's something that they have to do, just say, hey, what's it going to take? If we give you 6 months, if we give you, 90 days, how much more time? Because we can always extend the escrow or get a buyer that allows a rent back or work it that way. But we just can't make it contingent on that, because the buyers aren't going to go for that. A veteran agent is not going to put their buyer in that position. Okay, so that's my pitch here. Where are we? Any more haves and wants? We're off of that. Okay, let's do our stats here for congratulations to TRG and those agents that are back working. We had 25 closings last month in December. Paid out $340,000 in commission to TRG agents on sales of $21,394,000. 2 closings each for Salim Patel, Elena, congratulations, Elena, and Mary Warner. They each closed 2. We brought in 2 agents last month in December, and we're up. I think our total is 268 then for the total agents at TRG. And for those that are working, you know that this is an unbelievable market. Tell your clients that, because a lot of them out there don't know what's going on in this real estate market because of the pandemic. Our year-end stats are in over 2020, and I believe this is a December to December stats, or okay, so this is a calendar year then for 2020. We had 34 agents join TRG. We paid out almost $2,997,000 in commission to TRG agents, with a little over 173 million in sales volume. All of these stats went out in that email letter, our year-end letter from TRG. Congratulations to our top producers that are in the house, especially. We've got Lena Yoon, Connie Wenning, Elena Morick, and Elva Laura. How are you? Congratulations. And we do have some awards that are on order, so we will present those. Lauren will get those to you when they come in. And the drum roll, our TRG Agent of the Year, Helen Yee. Congratulations. A couple other announcements here. TRG is providing a transaction coordinator. This is with Lisa and Lauren for only $275. I know a few of you have already closed transactions using them. It's not mandatory. It's only upon request, but they are available to get all of your paperwork in order and submitted timely to make sure that there's no delay in getting the signatures on all the paperwork and getting paid when it closes. And as a reminder, as I've mentioned here every month here over the last few months, coming soon fines start at $2,500. So if you're using coming soon, please see Danny or me.
At the 1%.
And so
Thank you.
You understand that if you are showing coming soon listings, that you can receive a fine for $2,500. So we haven't had an agent yet get fined, but I know it's coming, and I just want to let you know we're giving those announcements every month so that you're aware of that. If there's any questions on that,
No traerá frío esa criatura.
restrictions, on the coming soon restrictions, please see me. Okay, we've talked about the love letters and all that. We sent out our annual letter. I should have just received that, I think, yesterday or the day before. We're asking for a couple of things. One, remember to drop off your business license fee for the city of Torrance. It's $74. Each year it goes up like $1 or so. Please make it payable to TRG so that Lauren can pay that by the end of this month. So let's do $74 payable TRG by the end of January. And also, please sign that letter that was sent out. And for those that attended today, we have copies here on the front desk that you have received it. We want to make sure that you, for those, especially those agents that are not attending our meetings and those that are not reading our emails and not attending our workshops, that at least they're getting updates via our policy and procedure manual. And this, by signing this letter, it states that you are familiar with our policy and procedures here at TRG.
And the email links to all of those files too. So they can click right to it.
Okay, thank you. And Danny says that all of this information is available on our TRG website.
And the email that they got.
Oh, and the email also. Okay, thank you. I wish Connie was here because I'd like to get a wrap up of her drive, her toy drive. Lauren, did anything on that? On Connie's toy drive as to
I know Robert donated a lot of gifts again this year.
Yeah, okay, so we'll have to wait and we'll do we'll have Connie do a wrap up of that at our next meeting. Thursday, we're on again this year with our Thursday Lunch and Learns. I'm hoping that within the next few months we can be live with these workshops and I can actually feed you guys. But in the meantime, we're doing Zoom meetings, and we're starting tomorrow is the first one of the new year. And I'll be doing that on prospecting. In fact, the reason we have our program today, when I was researching some new topics for prospecting, this one came up, and we've got a video and some information Danny's going to present on this prospecting tip, and that's going to be our program today. It's on this new software. It's called Homebot. And Danny, I'm going to turn it over to you. Do you want? While he's hooking that up, he actually. Am I good? Okay. So this Homebot, it's an excellent program. It's mainly designed for sellers that you sign up your sold client that purchased a property through you, or a seller that may be thinking about selling. If you've done a market analysis for them, or they're thinking about making a move, put them onto this Homebot, and I prefer like a monthly email, but you can set up however you want that, and the client will receive a monthly email that gives all their information about their house and what their value is. And as you'll see here, not only that, but it's got great resources as to what your net will be, what happens if you want to move down, like if you're a senior and you want to sell your house and maybe move into a condo, how much cash you can come out. It lists all of these options. And what's great about this is because Danny signed me up, I've been getting these emails. It's very, not only is it very informative and educational, but for our agents, it's free. So I figured that's perfect for our TRG agents. You can put in 25 clients, and this is a monthly announcement that your clients will see you. I mean, it's better than magazines, it's better than emails for these sellers, potential sellers, and homeowners because of the information. So we'll get a little review of that.
Great.
All right, so I think everybody can hear me. Yeah. All right. So if anybody is actually using Zip Forms online currently, you guys are all familiar with this screen now. So when you click on to access Zip Forms, it's now called Secure Transactions when you go to the car.org. And when you click to there, you get this nice pop-down window where it gives you access to Zip Forms, which is that lone wolf icon here that you guys can see. You guys have Glide here as well. And then there's lots of tips and training information if you guys want to go through this. I think this is just a placeholder for something soon to come, which we don't know. But if you scroll down to the next section where it says other transaction tools, right there in the middle, you can see that Homebot's there. So it is a free version for everybody that's a Realtor member. You get up to 25 clients that you can put in for it. So they all get emails. There's no limit on properties for it. If you go to their actual website and click on it, let's see if I can pull it up here. Yep, here's the main site. So once you log in, so you'll click on it, you'll register, put your personal information in, and then I'll go through the process here so you guys can see me add a client. Make it a little bit easier. So I think everybody's familiar with my way of doing any kind of CMAs. I go to the realist first. I find out all the information about the property, who the owner is. The only difference from this is you'll be going into your own database, whether it's your phone or your CRM, to have your client's phone number and email. So besides that, and the property information that you should already have from either a past sale or a potential buyer, that's everything that you'll need to put in. But just to give you an overview first, I'll show you kind of what it looks like. So a client will get a email first stating what the property value is, and they also have trends showing how that market is going. It's geared towards being a lender program, but we benefit from it because that they're seeing that they have this much equity on it. They're looking to sell or buy, and they can click through, they can choose what their own interest rates are. This is more of an interactive for you to get more information on them, and you can go in and put information as well. So to show you guys kind of how you would first log in, you can already see from my short use of this, and this is only less than 3 weeks, less than 30 days for it, is 94% of the people have opened the home link that I've clicked. On here at the bottom, you can see that I skewed the numbers a little bit because I kept testing it to see if it worked, but on there listed with my own personal property at the top, and you can see I've opened and viewed the property 5 times. I've viewed the market value on it 5 times, and I viewed the initial email to start it off. As you go through it, I can see like my younger brother also on his viewed the home for it, 2 days ago, and it gives you a nice status on it on when they get their updates and when they get that market value, and that comes in every 15 to 30 days depending on if there's any change. So it's one of those things where you set it, forget it, and if they click on requesting a CMA, they can. And then I'll show you once you get into a property on how you can adjust stuff to fine tune it if you want to be a little bit more exact. But you can see it's everybody enjoys it. I've only had one person that hasn't out of the 19 that I've actually put in. So it's a very effective tool. I think people just love it to work through. So to add a client, all you do is just click add client at the top. You're gonna need their basic info. So for this one, I'm gonna use my mother-in-law because she's the only one that I sold this year that I haven't put in the the database, and I know she's thinking about refinancing, not necessarily selling. So I'll put her in here. You do need to have their email address and then her phone number. Once that's in there, you can see that it also has Spanish and English. I think only Elva may be the only one in the office using that feature, so I don't know what that looks like, but she can test it out. So she bought a condo in Granada Hills back in February or January of this year. So I'm putting in her information. And what's great about having a new client is you already have all the sold information on here. Let's see. Go back. Oh no, you have to add it in for it. So based on her real list for it, she bought the property, let's see, for $387 for it.
You take the data from real list, is that?
Or the MLS, because you want to make sure it'll do the calculation for you from real list for the loan. That way you don't have to do the 20%, 30%, whatever they did for it. For the loan for hers, if I can get it open here. It's only yours. You can add a preferred lender if you want to. Their monthly rate is obviously higher because we're generating leads from them, but they just get a sponsorship box on the side. So I've sent it out to all the lenders that I know to see who's added to it. So far, nobody has for it, but for me, it's free up to 25. And then I'll show you guys the breakdown for the monthly when you have more contacts for it. So her loan on this one was $386 for the purchase, and then the loan was $365,750. So $365,750, and it sold on. Oh, it sold on January 9th of 2020. And the appraised price was, oh, I need the dashes here. Appraised price, we'll put it at the full 365. Oh no, sorry, I misheard. It's a 387. 387. Don't know why the dates are not taking. -01 -09. Okay. And then loan amount. So here you can actually put in an interest rate, or they can choose it for you. So this one's 365,700. Same time, we'll put the 2020-01 or 9 for the start. And then I believe her rate was somewhere around that, like 3.8, since it was very little down for it. It was conventional for it, so that'll actually put it in there. And if you know any other information, you can plug it in here. If they did like a second or anything else, you can also add that in as well. And then you can also add a second owner to it that'll also get the email notifications. If you have, more people that are involved, husband and wife or trust LLC for everything. I just click save for it. Once you go back to your homeowners at the top, I'll scroll down to Helen Stevenson. You can see that she's the only one that hasn't had anything sent for it. So when I click on her profile here, it's already doing all the calculations, which I think is something that Elva loves to do, so that way she doesn't have to do a CMA. It already does it. So it already tells me that it's worth $421,000 without me having to do anything. All I had to do is put in the property and base on it. So now I can say, well, I've done a CMA for it. So when I pulled up the comps for it, it looked like it would probably sell for like $425 for it. So it's still relatively close, but you can see that's $4,000 and I didn't have to do anything. But if you wanted to update it, you can. So you just choose the value that you want to write for it. So I'm going to put 425. And then I'll put the minimum value as 400. And then possibly up to, let's say, 435. and then hit save. So now this will update that value in there. So you can start off by sending it to the client first, and then wait to see if they log in. If they log in, then you update the value, and that way it kind of looks like they're actually looking for your services. And then what I like to do is print out an actual CMA. Well, I do it digitally and email them a copy of it. Now they may not have requested it, but if they're going in here and tinkering with the site and adjusting the price, saying no, it's worth this much, that's your initiative now to go in and say, hey, no, you need an actual professional CMA. Here's one that I can do for you for it. So you can preview what the digest is. So this is what their email will look like when they get it. So you can see everything before it goes out. So it's got your information up there, how you can save money, kind of breaks down how it's calculated, how much they paid for interest for it. They can go in here and adjust how much they want to pay per month, for it.
This is what I was impressed with as a client receiving this from Danny. Very impressive email, lots of information, and then also at the bottom it has contact numbers.
Yep, and I can show you like what you want to get rid of your mortgage insurance right here. So this is correct, it's not. So we'll say that it's not correct for it, and then they can add in their own PMI to it. So to me, it makes it perfect for a lender, but for us to get somebody to that step of showing how much equity they have, this is way more in depth than any active CMA that I've seen out there, because we can only show them comps. And since we're not lenders, we can't quote prices or do anything, but this software can for them. So hopefully it'll get connected to a lender, and that way they can go through and do everything. Yep.
If one of the clients purchased the property cash, so then
it would just be zero. So it would just show that they have the 100% profit. But it would show them though, like if they wanted to refinance or pull out a credit line, all that stuff is in there as well. Because I think on the top here, it shows, if you wanted to do any arms, they have a 7-1, 5-1, 10-1 arm, what a fixed rate would. So if they decided they wanted to now get a loan, this information would still be there, and they have a sliding scale. So they can do a 10-year, they can do a 30-year on it. They can just adjust everything how they want to go through it all. And just very easy, interactive. I think on here, so you guys can see this is the monthly, so it shows you what everything is selling for. What's great is it gives you that information saying if the market's good for the seller, the market's bad for the seller. That way they know as well. There's more features into this. Once you have a lender, you can actually put buyers into it as well if they're looking to buy like investment properties and stuff like that. That's a little bit more advanced, but I think for us, it's just doing single family homes with having 25 people into it is perfect. So you guys can see.
So that they start, if they call back and ask questions, we can help them understand what is being shown there, right?
Well, that's where you would connect them with the lender. So that's where you're going to use your, vendors that you use.
This is just so basic what I've seen that you did, but I would have to first do it myself.
Yeah, if anybody has a property, that's why when I started it, I went through all my clients that I sold the last 2 years, and then all my family members that had properties, and just sent them out because I wanted to see what their reaction was to it first. And normally with all 3 products, that's the first thing I do. Sierra MLS 2 years ago has the e-property watch, which does almost the same thing. It doesn't have these lender and finance pieces to it though. So I think that's the key thing, is people want to see what their net worth is, but how can they leverage that? Because that's the reason why they got into real estate and bought that, is because they can build that nest egg. This is, most people, at least in the South Bay, that's their retirement, is their home, because it could be making them hundreds of thousands of dollars, over the years.
Plus, as a client follow-up, you get to see if they're actually viewing these and what they've clicked on. So you get that input that you don't get from sending out emails and other information. So you can tell those that are interested.
So on the Sierra's website, so once you click through, you'll see this is where you'll sign up. I'm already obviously logged in, so I can continue as myself. This kind of shows you the overview, how they can tune it. So if everybody has any questions, they can all go there. And here's the breakdown so you guys can see once you get over the 25. So you get 25 is their free package. You know, you don't have to pay anything for this. After that, they do waive the setup fee. So it's only $25 a month for up to 500. Our prospecting and goal is my dad was happy when he had 300 clients. So if you have 500 clients in this database going, $25 a month is nothing to you for it. And then if you want to add another 500, it only is $10 more. So think about $35 for 1,000 people. I think you may have your own brokerage if you have 1,000 clients for it. It's just month to month. And the setup fee is waived since now it's a CAR member benefit for it. You can see it also, you know, integrates to other stuff when you get it more advanced. If you want to use like an email campaign, Zapier is kind of like a connection program to automate stuff for you. So it'll bring it into whatever database you're using. I know like Carol out there, some of them use like Top Producer. They might use Lion Desk, which is another like free. Those are other like CRMs once you get your database kind of built up. But 25, I mean, to me, out of this, 25 people is going to give me at least one transaction, you know, every other year, and it's a set it and forget it because they're going to see their equity on it. Yeah.
Now, these are your clients.
Yep.
So as a matter of prospecting, you can actually do some research through real estate and see, you know, that this person bought his house 20 years ago. It's never been on the market. Can you get that name from real estate, or you don't have it?
You don't have the email. That's the only thing you don't have. But the products that are out there, you have stuff that's in CRMLS that will do breakdowns for certain areas that you can map out to find, you know, equity that are, you know, positive equity properties. Robert's got a great program too that he can give you a full Excel sheet that has everything in it that you need. And that's where you got to do the legwork, whether you're buying phone numbers or getting cold numbers to call or you're door knocking. But as soon as you get that email and they're set in, then you just move on to the next one. So I mean, there's still a lot of legwork if you don't have clients, but this is an easy pass through once you do have that information. And as we all know, as in this business, it's that referral business that you get over and over again. So once somebody that I know has this going, and they're talking over a dinner conversation or, you know, out drinking with friends or family, they're like, oh, I just found out that my property was this much. Like, well, how'd you know that? And then hopefully that'll spur it too. I mean, but you have to, you know, initiate it yourself. And my dad will go over the prospecting and Thursdays.
That's the new thing with prospecting. You know, the old school is you go out and you pick out 500 homes and you knock on doors. Well, that's changed with the technology now, where you'll get a bigger farm of maybe 2,000 homes. Go to Robert, your title rep. Out of those 2,000, they have the software that will tell you those that are most likely to sell in the next 12 months, and you just cherry pick. So you're only going to be dealing with maybe 100 to 200 clients out of that 2,000 plus database, and those are the ones that you hook up on this. Obviously, you first want to make that personal contact, get their email address, you know, shake hands, make sure that they're warm and fuzzy and friendly to you, and then put them on this. And if you get a couple hundred clients in your database, that's all you need. You know, then it's just a matter of maintaining that and keeping it going. So that's much better than, you know, what I experienced over the years, where it takes 5 years to get into a farm and start producing, and, you know, so that people know who you are. This way you can do it in just a few months.
Question, if you have a client that you have not been in contact with for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, like I do, and I have been sending them postcards every year, and I set them up there, would the system show if they are with another agent who's doing the same?
Yeah, so I was talking about this yesterday, so you guys can see it. I teach all of my CMA classes. The first thing is you have to have the correct data. So once you log into the MLS, you can do a cross-property search, which is probably the easiest. So you just type in the address for the number, the street, and it'll pull up all the history for that property. Most of these, if they've been sold multiple times, will go back to about 1995 for the data in the MLS. So you can see old photos, you can see what the property looked like, and you also get to see the agent that listed it. This is a great way to find out your competition as well. So on the realist, when you pull up the property, it has listing information right here in the middle of the screen that you guys can see. So it shows the close date, it shows what the price was, it shows who the listing broker was and the date on it. So if you're first logging into the realist information on any kind of comp that you're pulling or potential listing agreement, and you see that it says active instead of closed, you can't purchase that property. Or if it was sold like last year and the client tells you, oh, we're interviewing other agents, chances are that Steven guy or whatever is probably getting interviewed as well, because he's the one that sold him or bought him that property and they know about that agent for it. As I found out going through trying to figure out loan amounts, since I wasn't previewed to most of that as an agent, but you can also see that if it's relatively new transaction, chances are that loan information hasn't changed. So the bottom here, you can see the mortgage amount, who was through Quicken Loans Conventional. So that's where I pulled that information from to put it in there. Now, if you have an older property, like when I use my dad's as an example, as I pulled up his property, is it could show that they had like a line of credit, they could have refinanced a couple times. So if you see all of these numbers on there, it may add up to millions of dollars, and chances are they don't owe that much on it. So that's where you just put in what you think the information is and let the client adjust, the interest rate and the value on it as well, because they have that access to do it. And then just to show you guys on how I just did a generic quick CMA for this one, and you can see that's where I came up with that 425 value for it based on everything that was selling. And I was just looking at these closed based on the square footage.
That's another class.
But see, Elva, you don't have to do a CMA when you have this program. It's already going to give you a better evaluation than your client just saying, oh, I want to sell it for this amount. So no, I would just sign up for the Homebot, type in their information, add them as a client. And I think, I mean, at least all of our top producers here have at least 25 people they can put in. Correct, yep, and it's only $25 a month. Yep.
Seller and says, hi, Danny, I am planning to sell my duplex in London that he purchased 10 years ago, whatever. Would you generate this? Would you put him in this?
Yep, I would too, because
so
as long as you know.
Email right away, and the email will show how much we can list it for. What is the? Would you do that? Or
so with the income property, it's just going to base it on the price plus its automated valuation and the loan they owe. So it'll show the equity positive if they have it. You're going to have to do a more detailed CMA for an income. Right. It's easier just for single family. That's kind of what I would stick to. Just like the CMA that I did here.
Because the realist doesn't give you an estimated value for investment.
Correct, because it's a little bit more complicated. So I would just stick to single family. But if you guys do have, an income property, just send us the address for it. We can do a quick breakdown where you have a one sheet like this. It is more advanced, and I think it's just because the data isn't as accurate. You have to do a lot more research.
What I meant actually, I said duplex, but if it's a single family, like
single
the
family
property, I mean, would you, before you even talk with him or her about how much?
If they know who you are,
you do that,
and you have their contact information, this is just like sending them a weekly reminder postcard or a letter.
Elena, whenever I get a lead on a potential listing, that's the first thing that we do, is we pull up that real list to make sure that they're the owner, right? That they say who they are and
how many owners on it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, as you know, there's a lot of information. You can tell loan history, and how long they've owned the property.
Is, you guys can see here, is it actually gives you a range. That way you're not really quoting an exact price to. You can walk into that first meeting with them where really all you have is this, and say that, hey, your home is worth between 330 to 337 or 437 total.
Right.
Now you're giving them a larger range for it, and that way it's as accurate as you can get until you've seen the inside, you know what's going on with their financial position. I mean, there's lots of other things that, because if like my mother-in-law had to sell her home right now, we would probably list it for $399 and just take the first offer. I mean, it all depends on circumstances that they're in. If she just wants to get rid of the loan, get everything done, she's not going to push for that higher equity. But if she can realize that she can get up to almost 440, make $50,000, she may let it sit on the market for 6 months, so that buyer comes up to which they want to sell it for.
Right.
Yeah, this isn't a CMA class, but one of the things Danny taught me is sellers are always looking online as to values. And I think we have 6 different websites now that will give you instant values. And one of the things that we've added to our CMA package, and you'll see that online, is internet values. So we'll go in and we'll put in all those numbers. You know, if you've got a little 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, we put in all of those numbers and you'll see how inaccurate all of those automated valuations are. But it's important to show that to the seller, because most of your sellers, it's been our experience, have seen values online, and that's where they get in their head that theirs is worth $1 million, you know? So you got to show them, you got to educate them as to, hey, this is what they're showing, but here are the actual comps.
Right.
And you know, they don't know when they do when these computers just do the analytics on it, they're not looking at traffic and condition and
Exactly.
you know, all the other issues that are in there. So go ahead.
That's it. That covers everything.
Great.
I'll send out a recap email so everybody can see it and download it.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Thank you, guys. We have birthday cake. We have birthday cake here, and make it a great day.
I'm the shortest.